David Davis, are you...
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Are you impressed with the idea that the Irish Taoiseach is now saying that the EU will give fresh written assurances on the backstop? Because that could be enough, couldn't it?
No, it won't be enough. I mean, the reason it won't be enough is because it needs to be legally binding. That's the first thing. Secondly, it isn't the only problem with the Theresa May, the number 10 deal. I mean, there are other problems with it in terms of the giving £39 billion over with no conditions attached to it. You know, the original idea was £39 billion. On an understanding that we get a free trade deal to it.
We are obliged to give most of that 39 billion.
Sorry?
Though.
No, we're not. That's a false assertion, I'm afraid.
Contracts that we'd signed up to, pensions agreements and all the rest of it, a lot of it we have to give, otherwise we'd become international pariahs.
No. The best guideline on this is the Constitutional Committee of the House of Lords, right back at the beginning of this process, who looked at all of mostly their lawyers, and they said, no, this is a matter of negotiation. And that's right, it's a matter of negotiation. If we sign up to the withdrawal deal, then we will be committed. Then we do have to pay. But to come back to your point, this and the point John Pienaar made is the deal on the table. What Mr. Barclay has said is the only deal on the table. Actually, that will not prove to be true. The government is running out the timetable, running out the clock. But actually, there are now already signs, the Taoiseach's comments being one of them, that the European Union knows it needs a deal and it will come back.
So are you saying that you believe they, even as we speak, in Brussels, are thinking, right, let us now renegotiate? Or is it beyond that? Do they actually have another plan there waiting to deliver?
No, I don't think either is likely. I mean, what's going on at the moment is they're testing the mettle of the British government. They're seeing whether or not the government...
We've been doing that for 2 years.
Yes, exactly, they have, and we haven't tested them enough. But which takes us back to our conversation a few months ago. But the simple truth is that they will hold fast to their line. This is the traditional approach of the European Commission, the European Union. They will hold fast to their line till the last possible minute. And then if we hold fast to our line, then they will actually come back and renegotiate.
With what, do you believe?
What will they come back to negotiate with?
What will they offer us that they have
it'll be what we demand, and this is where the question...
Well, we know what we want. We want, as you've just said yourself, you want legal assurances on the back.
We want legal assurances,
and that would do it, would it?
No, not by itself. We also want some sort of undertaking on a free trade deal. We want that 39 billion conditional on delivery of a free trade deal. And there are other elements too, but those are the key elements of this.
The trouble is, you know as well as anybody else that what you're asking for, certainly the free trade deal, as you put it, is the sort of thing that says to the rest of the world, look, you might as well leave the European Union. You can get all the benefits you had in it without all the costs.
Well, no, the reason for the free trade deal or free trade plus deal is it's based entirely on European precedents. It's often called Canada plus because it's based on Canada, it's based on South Korea, it's based on New Zealand. All these deals previously done with the European Union. So the European Union signed up to these before. It hasn't got an argument that says this undermines the single market. It hasn't got an argument that says this will undermine the European interest because it's done it before. So the point being, this will get very, very sticky, very close to the end. That's what will happen. And we have to work out what's negotiable and what's deliverable.
You say it would take time to get it. How long would it take to get it? If, and it's a huge if, it were on offer.
Well, as I came in this morning, I walked past the heap of newspapers outside your office, and the headline on one of them was that the European Union talking to British officials about extending the timetable. Right?
In other words, postponing Article 50.
Postponing Article 50. Now, I think it's a bad idea. I think that it's a bad idea for the British officials to talk to them about it at this point in time because we need the pressure to come on.
How else do you get the time that you need?
But the point about it is the very fact they're talking about it tells you that Mr. Barclay's assertion, this is the only deal on the table, is not actually entirely accurate because what actually is going on is the Europeans are thinking about the next stage, and the next stage is another round of negotiation.
Right, but they cannot
And otherwise, it doesn't make sense. That headline does not make sense. The European Union briefing does not make sense.
There's an awful lot in this that makes no sense to an awful lot of people. Yeah. But how long could it possibly go? Because don't forget, well, you know perfectly well, there's European elections coming up in May. I mean, we couldn't take part in those European elections.
Those who want to use delay as a sort of first step towards cancellation, that won't work. And the idea of delay by a year, that won't work.
So what would work?
In the event that we were willing to agree delay, and I don't think we should, but in the event we were willing to agree delay, it couldn't go beyond May.
So it only gives another month.
And Steve Barclay told you why. Because there'll be a new European Parliament. Now, if we are still members in May, that means we have European parliamentarians. Mr. Farage goes back to the European Parliament. They won't love that idea. So the simple truth is they can't go beyond May. So if there's an extension, it's an extension of a month or two, nothing more, in order to enable the last crossing of the T's and dotting of the I's in a negotiation.
And if that is not the case, if you're entirely wrong about this, and Brussels has no intention of renegotiating, and we have to take them at their word on that at the moment anyway, then what?
Well, then it's what's called no deal or World Trade Organization deal. And we've had a lot of scare stories in the last few months about this, and they are just scare stories. There will be no insulin. We know that's not true. We've proven that's not true. There will be shortage of drugs. We know that's not true. Matt Hancock was making that plain yesterday. There'll be shortage of food. No, there won't. You won't be able to go to the continent. You have to have a visa. No, there won't. And what's happening is each of these scare stories are being knocked down. Sometimes by the
you just knock down the easy ones to knock down. What about the really serious ones, like day after day after day of lorries being forced?
Well, let's deal with that one. I mean, one of the things that never gets covered in the BBC coverage of this is all the French preparations going on. I mean, this all hinges around Dover-Calais, which is one potential choke point, and the French are moving heaven and earth. They've found places outside Calais to have their inspection regimes. The head of French Customs has said they're going to arrange their inspection arrangements to facilitate and accelerate throughput. Indeed, other ports are saying the same. Rotterdam, Zeebrugge, Antwerp, all saying the same. They're making, and they're taking on thousands of people between.
We would have a totally different customs arrangement.
Yes, we would.
And that would require an enormous amount of bureaucracy and technology, none of which we have in place.
Hardly an enormous amount. This day and age, I mean, people making these comments are thinking back to customs arrangements back in the sort of card index age. You know, we now operate. And I know you can remember that, John. But,
Speak for yourself, I was going to say.
But neither of us are youngsters anymore. But the simple truth is that, of course, I mean, there's work still to be done on that, no doubt about it.
Well, there is, because if we talked merely about, an 80-second delay for every lorry going through customs, we would be talking about chaos, and you know that.
But that's why the French need that operation to work as much as we do, and that's why they're taking all the actions they're taking. And this doesn't get reported in the British press, but they're taking loads of actions to ensure that it's dealt with quickly. An 80-second delay is actually rather long by international standards. The most cramped cross-border crossing is the Detroit crossing in North America, and it's 52 seconds. So people pick a number out of the air. People who've never run an international operation, never exported something across the border.
But their numbers as good as yours or mine or anybody else's, because we don't know, and this is the problem, isn't it? We don't know. We've been in this arrangement for 47 years,
But we do know. I mean, let's imagine you have a clogging up of the Calais Dover crossing. Won't be the first time. French drivers' strikes have done this before. We've seen the headlines when that happens. But then you've also got the options of going via the other ports from Tilbury and Immingham and.
So you're going to vote for a no deal?
Well, it's not a question of voting for no deal. Is what the World Trade Organization deal is what actually happens if nothing else is agreed.
Quite so. But
will I vote against this proposal that the Prime Minister's putting up? Yes, I will.
Yes, I rather took that for granted. But there are other options you could vote for. I don't know. You could vote for another referendum.
Norway is actually unnegotiable. Bluntly, I've been through them all. I spent the last few months trying to see if there is another way through this to actually facilitate the government's position. Norway doesn't work because you'll end up in a bad negotiating position again. Another referendum would be an abuse to the last one and would take over a year to do. The only one that actually works is Free Trade Plus, and it works because it will be acceptable in the final analysis to the European Union.